I've heard that one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Paper towel emergency in the back row.
A group of snails is called a walk.
Okay, guys. Why have I labeled this one number 2? Number 2. Because it's after number 1. And what is the first kind of factoring you should try? Gcf Factoring. Which we have already talked about. Okay? Now, right now, you know this and this as binomials, yes?
Yes.
Okay. But they are also factors, aren't they? What makes this binomial and this binomial factors? Why am I able to call them both factors? Because they're multiplying together. That's the reason. Because this is multiplying, these guys are factors. Do I have a product yet? No, I don't. Can I get the product? Yeah, what gets me this product? FOIL or that little shortcut I taught you that works in this case, yes? So what is the answer here? X squared, and if you're doing it properly, plus 4x plus 6x plus 24, which gets me x squared plus 10x plus 24. Yes? I don't know why the factors word disappeared. Well, I do know why. The computer doesn't work very well. So we are all okay with the fact that the trinomial on the right is the expanded product of the two factors on the left. Yes? Right? And we all know how to multiply those factors. Yes? We all know how to expand it. So the question is, or the question becomes, if we are able to expand two binomials into a trinomial, then we must be able to reverse that expansion and take a trinomial and create the factors that make it. Does everyone understand what I'm saying here? So what we are looking for when we have a trinomial is we need to be aware that it is made up of smaller pieces, just like every number, except prime numbers, are made up of smaller factors. Cool? So all of you knew this little shortcut. Now, I want to take a second in this blank space over here to ask you all to please draw this construction. X squared plus bx plus c. Not 3, you idiot. C. This, actually, you know what? Put an A in front of it too. This is what we call a general form of a trinomial. And it is made up of 3 parts because it's a trinomial. This part is called the quadratic term. This part is called the linear term. And this part is called the constant. Now, you guys should be able to see what you need to do to take this trinomial, this particular kind of trinomial, and break it into factors. Because you remember that factoring is the reverse of expansion, yes? So, if you were going to expand this, what's the shortcut? It's add the constants to get what term? The linear term, because you guys hadn't heard these words till right now. Add the constants to get the linear term, and then what? Multiply the constants. You multiply the constants to get the constant term. So, what does that tell you? If I have x squared plus 10x plus 24, I look at that and it is possible that it is factorable. And if it is factorable, then I know that the factors have to look like this. X and x, because I need an x squared, don't I? And I know that these two numbers have to satisfy two conditions. What are the two conditions that they must satisfy? They must add to 10, and they must multiply to what?
24.
To 24. And we look and we see it is indeed 4 and 6. Is everybody cool with what I did there? There's a whole bunch more math that comes into play here, but because we have now lost like 10 days of course, I am cheating and I'm just giving you the shortcut. You know I won't do that very often, so take it and run. Everybody with me? So what we have now is a trinomial factoring. Now please notice that in this case, the A term equals what number? What number is right there? 1. This only works where the A term is 1. Is everybody cool? So, if it's going to factor, then the trinomial will have this term will have two factors that will add to this term. Does everybody understand? Everyone cool? So I need two numbers here that will multiply to what?
18.
Look again. Negative 18. And add to what?
7.
7. What are they?
9 and 2.
9 and 2, right? Somehow. Now here's where you can either understand what you're doing or you can memorize a bunch of steps. Again, normally I would say understand what you're doing, wouldn't I? But it also, you can use the shortcut here. Since that is negative, I get that by multiplying, don't I? Which means I know it's x and x. And I know since that's negative, it must be plus and minus, yes? Now it's easy to put in the numbers, right? It has to be plus 9 minus 2. Because 9 minus 2 gets me 7. 9 times 2 gets me 18. Is everybody with me? Now, normally, like I say, this takes a day to teach this. Like, we wouldn't even be getting to this normally. But I'm cutting some corners because we've lost a bunch of days. Okay? So look at this one. I need numbers that multiply to what?
8. Negative 8.
Negative 8 and add to what? Negative 2. Now, you guys are smart kids. Since this is a negative, it must be x plus and x minus, correct? Because it has to be a positive times a negative to get a negative here, right? Okay, so what are the factors of 8 that will add to 2?
4.
Has to be 4 and 2, right?
Yeah.
But they also have to get me to negative 2. So where does the 2 go? With the plus or the minus?
Plus.
Plus. It has to be plus and minus. Is everybody cool?
Yeah.
Now, here's something that kids always are like, well, what if I write it this way? Would it matter if it was x minus 4 and x plus 2?
No.
That's okay. But is x plus 4 and x minus 2 okay?
No.
No. because that's not going to get me the -2 in the middle. Is everybody cool with that? Yeah? Okay. There's no way to get really good at this except practice. I used to teach a kid. He was in the 9th grade. This used to be in grade 9 years ago. And this kid was the dumbest kid I've ever taught. He really sought a lot of mathematical opportunities, which is code for he was the dumbest kid I've ever taught. Super nice kid. He could do this in his sleep. No other math could he do. What's 7 plus 5? 7 plus 5. Every time. He could factor like that. Nothing else. Couldn't even do the other kinds of factoring. But this, he was like Rain Man. If you haven't seen that movie, it's lost on you. But if you have seen that movie, you know what I'm saying. So, what do I need here? Multiply to what?
35.
Add to what? -12. It's positive, so
Double negative.
it has to be double negative. Why?
Negative.
Because I have a -12 there. So what is it?
5 and 7.
5 and 7. See how easy this is? Everybody's cool? Okay. Look at D. What's D got to multiply to?
20.
-20 and add to what?
12.
What is it? It is totally not possible, is it? That's why I like teaching honors classes, because a bunch of people say you can't do it. Every other class, they start trying to fit the problem into their shortcut. Does that work? No. Right? It's just as important to know when something isn't going to work as when it is. And they yell at me. You should see how angry they get. They only get passionate when they think I'm being mean to them. It didn't do Myers, and they get super angry, and then they try to prove it. And they spend so long, longer than it takes to actually do a question, trying to prove this one that I tell them they can't do. But they won't practice the one that they can do. I don't understand teenagers. I think I might be in the wrong line of work. But I try, so it's not going to work, because every kid says, well, it's got to be 10 and 2. So they go, all right, A plus 10, A minus 2. There, I did it, Mr. Myers. Then they don't do the next thing. What's the next thing you should do? Check it, because you have a lot of time, don't you? Because you know at the end of the test, what am I going to do? How many people need more time? I'm going to give you more time, aren't I? So check it. 10 times 2 is indeed -20, but 10 minus 2 ain't no 12. Right? Okay. So you guys do E on your own. It should take like 2 seconds. What is it?
7 and 2.
Y plus 2 and y minus 7. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's wrong with F?
You have a
There's a 4, which means right away you cannot do what you want to do. So what do you need to do? GCF, because what are you supposed to try first? GCF. What is it? 4. So I'm going to divide everything by 4. Now here's the next mistake kids make when factoring. Because they think, oh, I've got to do the plus and minus. They forget about 4. Are you allowed to forget about 4? No. Where does the GCF go when you use GCF? Out in front. So this becomes 4x squared minus 5x minus 14. Right? Now, am I done?
No.
A bunch of you, the first quiz I give you, are going to stop there because you haven't practiced enough. You need to be looking at that and saying, wait a minute, that's a trinomial. It possibly factors. If it's going to factor, what are the factors going to do? Multiply to
14.
negative 14 and add to
Negative 5.
negative 5. And if you're smart, you will notice that you just did that. Right?
Yeah.
It's the exact same question, except you got to have a 4 in front of it, and it's an X instead of a Y. If I had a nickel for every kid who told me they couldn't do math when the letters changed, I would be a rich man. The rules don't change when the letter changes. Okay? Everybody good? So all of you should be able to handle G now, right? What's coming out?
10.
So we're going to have 10, and what's the trinomial that we're left with?
X squared plus 8x plus 12.
And what are the factors? They got to multiply to what?
12.
And add to what?
8.
What is it? X plus 2, X plus 6. Everybody cool? Look at H and tell me what's different. There's a negative in the beginning. We only know how to do this when the beginning is what?
Positive.
A positive 1. So how do I get rid of that negative 4?
Divided by negative.
Divide everything by negative 4 instead. What is that going to do to every sign? Excellent. So I now have t squared, which is okay. Then what? Plus 4t. Then what? Minus 32. What are my factors that multiply to negative 32 and add to 4? Right? So is it plus 4 or plus 8? Plus 8 and minus 4. Yeah? Yeah. Now, what's weird about I? Because every single one of these has looked slightly different, hasn't it?
It's a different order.
It's in a different order. Are you allowed to move things around?
Yeah.
I do it the first of the month, don't I? Are you still my Math 10 class?
Yeah.
Even though you're in different seats. So change the order. What happens? You would get negative d squared minus 5d minus 24. Now do you know what to do?
Yep.
So what do? Divide by what? Negative 1. Why, Christina? Can't have a negative out front. So it's going to be negative d squared plus 5d plus 24. Now, can you do any more with that? No, it looks like you can though, doesn't it? Why? Because it's a trinomial and 24 has 3 and 8. It should work, shouldn't it? But it can't, can it? Because that guy's positive, so they got to be the same sign. Picking up what I'm putting down? Smelling what I'm stepping in? Okay. What's different about J?
You have more than one letter.
You have more than one letter. So what do you think you need to do? Do you know how to deal with the squared term? Yeah. What did we do? It's V and V, yeah? So what do you think we do for that squared term? Same thing. B and B. And then do you think anything changes? Nope. What do I got to multiply to? Negative 20. And what do I got to add to?
19.
19. What is it? 1 and 20. Which one goes where? Plus 20 minus 1. Would I write 1b?
No.
Nope. Everybody getting it? Okay, K is exactly the same as J, so you should be able to do it by yourself, yeah? What is it? 14y minus 2y. Gotta remember the y. Now let's pretend this is a test and Danielle forgets the y. I know. That's why I said let's pretend. Let's pretend Danielle forgets the y. What do I give her? Who said 0? Alma, why do you think I'm such an ass? I am not a flutter. I am crestfallen. Oh! Why did the peacock go to the concert? Because his tail was a fan. Peacock, tail, it's a fan. So he went to the concert. Fine, guess it's math time. What's weird about L?
You only have one constant, like number, one number.
What's weird about L? There's a B. I don't like a B there. I only know how to deal with a single squared there. So I can't use my trick yet. But what's the first thing I was supposed to try? GCF. Oh, isn't there a B everywhere?
Yeah.
So what comes out? And what's that leave? A squared minus AB minus 20B squared. Now you can solve it. A plus A minus, and what is it? I've got to multiply to what? 20, negative, and add to what? Negative 1. So what is it? 5 and 4. Plus 4b minus 5b. Everybody cool? What's different about m? It's a to the 4th. Well, when it was squared, we did x and x. So what do you think we're going to do now? X squared and x squared. That's positive, but that's negative, so it must be minus minus. And what are the numbers? 10 and 5. Everybody cool? What's different about n? There's a 0. Would you ever actually see this in a math class? Why? Because you wouldn't write this. What would we really write? X squared minus 9. Put a box around that because we're coming back to that. But when you see it with a 0, do you know what to do? I need to multiply to what? Negative 9 and add to what? 0. What is it? X plus 3, X minus 3. Cool? So what's O? Would I write that way? I'm happy with that, right? Okay, what would I do here? X plus 25 and it's minus 25. Happy with that. What about here? X plus 4, X plus 4. Is there another way I can write that is tidier and more elegant in a mathy way? X plus 4 squared. Is everybody cool? Everybody feels good about trinomial factoring when the quadratic term is a 1? Yeah. Elma. For which one? H? Let's look. It had to be Negative 4. Because you needed to have positive 4 on your final. I'm sorry, Alma. Somebody's drying their hands, so we can't hear anything in the building. What's this, loot?
It's a gift on behalf of bakery.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I love soup.
Proceeds are going to the Bumu School in Kenya.
Ooh. Thanks, man. Who doesn't love soup? Crazy people. That's who. Kinda. He's a volunteer.
Oh, okay.
He plays rugby. I used to coach him when he was little.
Well, then you should have some soup.
Free soup.
Are these guys as quiet as...
These guys are honors grade 10s. So they're quiet with gravitas, not quiet with deer in headlights.
Like there's significance.
Yeah, there's a difference in the quiet in the room today.
When I say honors, I like to say it with an English accent.
Of course. Just like my old professor. This is my honors class, and you must only speak with your lower lip.
And not in Cockney.
Yeah, no, certainly not. Cockney. Slum. Whoa. There's an H in the word, Cockney person.
That was all recorded.
And? That's good comedy. I probably should have worn them, though. No, sorry, Alma, the person's hands are dry. What are we doing?
What is it? What is your thing when you said that an negative can't be on the outside?
We can't have a leading negative coefficient. So we divided it out to get this trinomial here, yeah? Which we then factored here. Now, if we expand it, and that's kind of what normally, of course, you guys know I would always show you what we actually did. If I expand this, I get this, right? Because 8 minus 4 is 4, and 8 times 4 is negative 32. And then if I distribute this negative in here, I get negative 4t squared minus 16t. And a negative times an egg gets me my positive 128. Cool? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to ask you guys to do, let me check your outline.
We got this one.
Yeah. Now, again, listen, please. Please, please, please. I really recommend having a look at 166 because while factoring is really a mechanical process, it is used as well in other applications of mathematics and physics. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's not just enough to be able to do questions like this. Right? So have a look at 166. Now, normally, if we hadn't just lost 8 days, I would have assigned you and said, do 166. But we got to make up some time. So if you are comfortable, you feel you're A-okay, you don't maybe have to do these, but you want to give a look at them, especially these ones at the end. Okay? What you need to do and make sure you actually do it is the next page I've given you, which goes up to 12. I believe it is page 14 for you guys, because I think you're a page ahead of me. Yeah? Do that 100%. Give 166 a look, especially the further ones along in the assignment. Everyone okay? All right, remember, Mr. Price is here to assist if needed. I am here. You have your notes. Oh, we haven't talked about this stuff yet, only the quiz. I have a specialist appointment tomorrow. I will not be here. So I'm going to give you the cumulative tomorrow. Okay? Just chill. All right? I have an offer for you. Relax. Because it is being sprung upon you, because it was sprung upon me, I'm going to give you, for the cumulative exam that you're going to write tomorrow, which can't hurt your grade, it can only make it better, I will allow you to bring in, are you listening to me? And I am recording it, so I have proof. You may bring in 1 sheet of notes, handwritten on regular size paper on one side. So none of you do something like, I write in 1 sheet when you're my age, and it's covered on both with writing that's this big, and you're reading it with a No. 1 sheet, 1 side, 8.5 by 11. Okay? Not 11 by 7 in 1 sheet. No. Okay? That is my peace offering to you because I am springing that test on you earlier than I said I was going to. But it's not a real test because you've already been assessed on it. It's only going to make your grade better.
Is it just the trig stuff?
It's just measurement and trig. Measurements. Good thing that isn't videoed.
Can we have our...
Elma first. Yes, you get your data booklet, of course. Huh?
Can we write on our data booklet?
You shouldn't write on your data booklet, but I can't stop you. If you're... I won't even tell you what to do with your cheat sheet, but you are allowed to bring one in. All right? Now listen to me. Listen to me. There are 2 paths you can go by, but in the long run, there is still time to change the road you're on. Anyone? Led Zeppelin? Stairway to Heaven? There are 2 paths you can go by. Nothing? Greatest song ever? No? I don't even know why I talk to you people. There are 2 paths you can go with the cheat sheet. 1, you can try to cram everything from the first 2 units onto 1 sheet of paper. Most of you will do that, even though I'm about to tell you that is a fool's way to do a cheat sheet. What you should do is look back in your notes, find the things you're bad at, and only the things you're bad at, and put them on your cheat sheet. Alright? No, you're not. Few of you, very few of you are bad at SOHCAHTOA trig. Almost none of you. Very few of you are bad at conversions. Some of you are. Some of you, weirdly, who are bad at conversions are actually good at surface area and volume.
I can't do surface area volume.
Alright? So I am shutting up. You have 17 minutes left in class.